Is Senua Saga Hellblade 2 worth our time? We're about to find out. Welcome everyone to episode 177 of 1 Hour, 1 Decision, 1H1D. I am Chris.
And I am Tom.
And we take 60 minutes and play a, sometimes random game on Xbox Game Pass and decide, Tom, we've finally gotten a game, maybe by force, that is a sequel to a game that we've completed and not the sequel first. What are we going to do about that?
Well, you had to cheat to make it happen, but I appreciate it. Yes. Once in a while, I'd like to do things in order if possible.
Yes, chronological order. So we are going to be talking about Senua Saga Hellblade 2, developed by Ninja Theory. And we're not doing it alone. We are here with Mr. XCP Cast Co-op, Mr. Everything Xbox related here. Luke Lohr, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm honored to be here. You've been such an amazing supporter of XCP that it's a pleasure to get a chance to join you guys and talking about a game that I thoroughly enjoy talking about. I think it's ripe for discussion. So glad to be here.
Cool. All right. Awesome. We are so grateful that you're here too, because you do some great stuff on the Xbox community, and
thanks.
We're here to support that as well. So speaking of a game on Xbox, what kind of game is this? Wait, before I do that, this game did come out in May of 2024. I played this on the PC. It was 47.76 gigabytes on the PC. Tom, what about you?
On the Series S, it was 40.33 gigabytes.
Ooh, all right. 7 gigabytes of savings.
Big difference.
That's a big difference. That's like a couple of games that we've played recently difference.
Yeah.
So there's that. And now let's get into what kind of game this is.
I have third-person action, but perhaps that's an oversimplification.
I put third-person walking psychological simulator. What about you, Luke? Do you have any thoughts here?
Yeah, I've described this game as a mashup between kind of God of War and a walking simulator, and I think it does kind of toe that line quite well. There are plenty of points where you genuinely are just walking, but I don't think you're walking for the sake of loading screens or anything else. It's allowing you to go on a journey with Senua, and then the action is just that third-person action game. So, I would describe it as a third-person action game with a caveat and asterisk that it's not full action all the time.
Okay, that's fair. And, that's why we all have our opinions, and that's great. And now let's get into that game loop. What do we got here?
I have solve puzzles and battle enemies to advance the story and unravel the mystery.
Ooh, okay. What you got, Luke? What do you think is the game loop here? I mean, you kind of talked about it. It's like an action game.
Yeah, that sounds accurate. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just put down keep Senua alive and sane, because I think that's basically what you're doing here.
You think you're keeping her sane?
Don't go crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think she goes crazy. So. I don't think she goes
crazy. She's got voice.
She has psychosis, but I don't think that's the line of insanity, because there is a level of supernatural in the Hellblade pantheon that, if gods and goddesses are walking around there, what is reality anyway?
That's fair. Yeah.
It does muddy the waters some.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It does muddy the water.
If the voices are real, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Right, okay. But now let's get into our likes here. What did we like about this game?
Speaking of voices, I think the sound design is just excellent. I played it using speakers, which I know they kind of tell you to use headphones, but I refuse. And even coming through speakers, I was like, oh, there's environmental audio. Like this is over on the left, this is on the right. It just is really well done.
Yeah.
Tom, why did you not use headphones?
I don't like headphones. I'm only wearing them now so that you don't pick up the feedback onto my mic.
Interesting. Okay. We're using a sound bar or like surround sound? And I think that's relevant for this kind of a game.
I'm playing it through surround speakers.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. I think it's relevant just the way the voices and the binaural audio is used by Ninja Theory. That's why I asked.
Right.
They do let you specify what you're using. So, they probably have some settings in the background that are helping,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I did play it with headphones as well. And it does, like you said, the voices kind of go back and forth between both sides. They even kind of I played with subtitles, so you see the text on either side of the screen too, which I thought was interesting. Yeah. And I just generally do that just in case I don't pick something up while I'm listening to it. But yeah, I mean, sound design in this game is top notch. They really, I mean, we play the first one. It's just kind of at this point expected that they're going to just knock it out of the park with that sound design. But I mean, look, not only did they do incredible stuff with sound design, the visuals in this game are absolutely stunning. And it's a great showcase of Unreal 5. And I was just blown away with how what they were able to do, and the kind of the effects that they were doing throughout the game too. It was just like awe-inspiring, really. In a way, it makes me think like, okay, I understand why it took 7 years to make this game, because they want to make sure every detail was accurate, or at least as photorealistic as possible. I'll say
incredibly cinematic. I felt like I was playing a movie, and there's no HUD, which is cool, but Chris maybe ruined it a little bit playing that with subtitles. I'm with you. Like, I think it looks great. I think it's like watching a movie, but I have a controller in my hands, and that's really cool.
I was taken aback by the visuals, for sure. I think it's one of the standouts of the generation, up there with perhaps Hogwarts Legacy or Jedi Survivor as being the best this generation has to offer in terms of visuals. And I think the thing that truly sets Hellblade 2 apart from any other game that we've seen this generation is how much the visuals and the refinement of the visuals are incorporated with that sound design we were referencing, because every ripple in the water you can hear, any rock that stumbles down a hill you can hear, you can see it and you can hear it, you can turn to where it is around you, and there's something special to that. And I really this game for me was a masterpiece, and I saw a lot of people in social spaces kind of railing against that, going very, very much against the idea that it is wonderful, and then others kind of championing it, and plenty of people falling in between. And I think it comes down to, what were you expecting to see? And to the point of visuals, we were expecting to see top-notch visuals, because it was this game that introduced the Xbox Series X, the world's most powerful console, and the linchpin of Xbox marketing all the way until the Xbox Series X released. And in rare form and in rare cases do we see games deliver on their initial trailer. And I would argue that even Hellblade 2 in motion looks better than that first trailer we saw. And I was not expecting that. I was expecting us to kind of be like, okay. But no, truly, you can pause any moment of the visuals, go into photo mode, zoom into the retina on Senua's face, and see it. And to me, that is immaculate game design for what they were going for. They wanted that to be the case, and I think they successfully nailed it.
Absolutely. And this is why Luke's got all that information on Xbox, like all up in that noggin there, and I appreciate that always. It was just I didn't even think about it, like the fact that the trailer way back when, like how this even blew it out of that water, like for that too. It's true. Like this game just looks. I was like honestly surprised that there was some discourse in terms of like visuals. Like some people were like knocking it. I was like, why?
I was
like,
also
what is
surprised.
it? What are they like? What, I don't understand that. So it was kind of disappointing to see that. But on top of the visual, I mean, I guess it's kind of visuals, but the animations overall, and like especially when you're going through combat, the parry animation was just so satisfying to me. I love a good parry system, and this one has one that just felt really good, and like good idea of, again, a game that doesn't have a HUD, that it was able to give you a good idea of like, all right, you hit you blocked this correctly, so now we're going to allow you to do a nice counter and stuff like that. So I was really really pleased with that. So I don't know, what are the things that you guys liked here about the game?
Tom?
Luke, I can go with you.
Oh, okay. So I made sure that I approached this game, because we cover Xbox on XEP, and we knew we'd be talking about it because it was one of those pillar titles of the year, and is one of those pillar titles of the year. There's a context that comes with it, because it's meant to be a smaller project, but it showcased the system and its Ninja Theory, and it leans more towards like the Hi-Fi Rush size game than it does a God of War, Halo Infinite AAA experience. To its credit and disservice, I would say. But I approached this game really wanting it to be just a spectacle, and I think I got that. And after finishing it, I immediately restarted it, and I will not spoil a thing for anybody, but there is a wonderful incentive to replay the game that adds context to the experience, which I think is really worthwhile. And I don't always feel that way. I don't know if anyone's played Starfield, but the New Game Plus incentivizes it within universe, and that landed differently with some people. But with Hellblade 2, it really stuck with me. So I played the game back to back twice. Like I ended and then started anew. And I felt fulfilled in doing that throughout. There were certain pieces of sections of the game that if you want me to talk about, I certainly can. But after playing it twice, then I went back and played the first game, Senua's Sacrifice. And that showed me just how far this game had come. And I thought that was a wonderful bit of perspective as well. I have a favorite section of the game, but I don't want to talk or oversell or overspoil anything by accident.
Okay. No, that's fine. I mean, we are just talking about that first hour, but maybe a little bit. If it's further past the hour, then maybe not. But you have played it. You've played it obviously now twice, so you can clearly see how well the game holds up past that hour. So spoilers. Spoilers already.
Allow me to incentivize. Then I will incentivize. I think that first hour is very special and does a lot to showcase what the game is going to be. But it does open up an idea for a boss battle and the boss battles that come. And I think those are very special. They did a very good job with those. So that is what I will say.
Yeah, cool. And to that point, the game does have a lot of intrigue because it's like because we played, I did complete the first game and I was like, okay, where are they going to take this story? And I just wanted to know how this story unfolded. I really liked also that they gave you the opportunity to watch a recap of the first game in case you missed something or you forgot something about that. So it was kind of cool that you had that opportunity and you could skip it too.
I thought it was a poor recap. I was actually, if I had any critique, I did not think the recap did a good job at showcasing the coolness of the first game. And maybe that's because of the sound and whatnot. But I thought the recap was rather dull and complex. It had so many big names and so many things that if you're a newcomer, it's very overwhelming. And like you're looking at these pictographs. And I was like, but show this cool stuff, these amazing, like in the first game. And this is, I don't believe to be a spoiler, like she goes to hell, to Helheim. And that's cool. That's a big deal. And it was just like a rock. She went. And she did. And I was like, come on. Come on. That was cool.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, the thing I was hoping that they would confirm for me was just the ending of the first game. And I was like, okay, I don't know if that, like, I don't get how she got from here, like from there to here. Because I thought her story was finished. Yes. It was very odd like that.
Sounds like transitional material to me.
Well, maybe, but do you have anything on likes here for you, Tom?
I think you guys covered everything that I have.
Okay, cool. So then let's start with your dislikes then, Tom.
Just to get started in this game, there's a lot to kind of jump through. You have to jump through a couple of different like warnings. Then you have to go through the settings. Then there's the recap of the original game. And then there's like this cinematic opening, which is really cool, but is still a cinematic opening. So like, there's a lot of front loading stuff and it is kind of dry, as Luke was pointing out, getting you to the point where you actually do start playing the game. I do like the transition into playing the game, but it took a while to get there.
Yeah.
And I don't like that the whole time that I'm going through this on the Xbox, you have to hit hamburger, like the triple line to confirm. And that's just kind of an awkward button choice to me to hit like, okay, like to confirm to move on to the next thing.
As opposed to like the A or whatnot, right?
Yeah. Like you'd think it'd be one of the normal face buttons instead of the tiny little, settings button.
Yeah.
And then they dump the whole like controller mapping on you and then don't give you a tutorial. So it's like you press this button is one of the few things where they tell you what to do. And then they just kind of don't. They just, I guess, expect that you've played the first game and know how to play the game.
Right.
But it is kind of weird that they do a recap, kind of like handhold you through a lot of it. And then they just like take the training wheels immediately off and go, just go, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess they threw that. I don't remember if there was a a picture, like a diagram of the controller for the first one? I mean, you just played it, Luke. Did they have that to tell you the controller mappings?
Yes, and I think when you hit pause, it's there. But I will tell you, like, the stuff, Tom, that you just listed was so like inconsequential to me that I didn't even reference that as like a frustration or a pleasure. I was like, okay, and I just went. So it's funny that you took note of that, because it just didn't. That wasn't going to be one of my critiques, but I didn't even notice it. Right, like, so if I'm really in on there, like, is that a strange choice? Maybe. Like, I hadn't even thought about it.
I mean, well, look, we're only playing the first hour, so we're going to be as critical as we can on the positives and the negatives. So I get that. I get why that came up there. I will say this game does have, it is the same. Like, if you're looking for extra mechanics here, they do add a little bit here and there, but for the most part, it's walking. You fight a single person in a kind of closed arena, and then you try to line things up for puzzles. It's not a bad thing. It's just that's just kind of like when you think of a second game, you think that maybe you add something a little different to the formula, but maybe they just want to stick to the experience. And this is like a question I have, I guess, for both of you. Would you consider this to be a game or an experience?
Game. It's absolutely a game.
I wrote curiously in my dislikes, I have the chaos of this voices make it an unsettling experience. So I have the word here, experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's like a playable movie. I mean, so I guess it is a game. There are buttons and you are doing action stuff. It does do that like adaptive difficulty thing where I never really felt like I was in danger of actually dying.
Right.
Maybe it was just being softballed to me or whatever. So I think they're trying to go like, play the movie kind of thing. They're very interested in doing a cinematic experience.
Right.
But you are playing it, so I guess it is a game.
I mean, yeah, I just felt like, again, it was very much like on rails, this experience, like the game, where, like, yes, they're like, I didn't see, like, other than going kind of off the beaten path to get the little find the totems or the faces.
There are a couple collectibles.
The collectibles and stuff like that. I just felt like, okay, I'm just going through. I almost felt like it was a ride. That's why I felt like a ride. It felt like a ride to me more than like a game. Like, I have control, but it's like very limited in that way that the control is. So that's why I just kind of had that question, because it's like, okay, it was just kind of something that came into my head. And I know, Tom, you like the whole idea of the how the cutscenes and stuff like that blended into the gameplay. For me, it was like sometimes where you were like, you're playing or the cutscene's going, and then she just kind of stops because it's waiting for your input. And I'm like, oh, okay, wait, I need to go now. Like, so like, I think early on in the game where you're in the, kind of going through the ship, and like, she's like crawling through, a lot of it she's doing herself. And then like, she stops. I'm like, wait, what's going on? Like, is she getting tugged on or whatever? And then I just pressed up. I was like, oh, okay. So she needs to move again. So it's like those little distinctions, especially with the fact that a lot of times when a game goes into a cutscene that I've observed, they'll put the black bars on.
Yeah.
To show that this is the movie part. Whereas when you're playing, they pull the black bars out or do something like that to just kind of let you know that you are going into a playable part of the game. So
I think that was part of I forget the pun, part of the experience was figuring that part out. But I still maintain that it's very much a game. I don't feel like I don't feel like the caveat of calling it an experience changes that for me. I very much feel like it's a game. I played it as a game. I enjoyed it as a game. It was a wonderful experience. And so I understand the question and the nature and why we ask it, but it's still, I'm pretty steadfast in like, it's a game to me.
Yeah, I think if you move this into VR and made it first person, it would feel very like a VR experience. But because it's in third person, because it is an action game, like that abstraction of pulling you out and putting you behind Senua, it makes it much more gamey and less of kind of the experience of, being her.
Yeah. Okay, cool. What other dislikes we got here?
It was dark. That first hour was dark. Like you could not see very well, despite incredible graphics. I was playing on a wonderful screen. I really thought it was beautiful, but it was very dark, and I thought it did the game a disservice because when the game opens up visually and it brightens itself, you can really see all the work that was put into it. But when you're squinting to see, no matter how good your HDR is, and I find that I had to do HDR bright in order to get the most of it, just for reference, if anyone needs to play around with their settings. But it was very dark, and I thought all that good work in creating visuals, it was difficult to see.
Okay, yeah, I didn't. I don't know why I didn't experience like. And again, it's just probably because I just felt like, okay, what am I doing? I'm just moving forward. So like for me, I didn't. But it was very jarring when you did go out to the open world kind of thing. Well, the world Iceland. It's supposed to be in Iceland, right? Is that the idea? And so just seeing the actual land and how everything was just like, I was like, I guess almost like it was kind of lifting the veil for her, and then and then turn you as the player. So it's like, wow, like this is really what it is. Like kind of like how Elden Ring kind of did that, right? Where you kind of go up that tower and then you're right there in this gigantic world, and kind of that kind of. I don't know if they were going for that, but that's but I could see your point where it's like you're playing for the first like 15, 20 minutes. You're like, what the heck is this? Like, I can't see anything. And there are stuff that happens. I'm assuming later on that you're going back into darkness and stuff like that too, right, Luke? So, yeah. So that's a good point. And I guess it's just like there were certain points in the game, like especially during combat and like certain scenes where I felt like, were they afraid of doing QuickTime events? Because I just felt like it would have been more engaging for me as a player to do certain things. Not to say I don't want to see buttons smashing, just like a few. Because again, like I felt like there was a lot of times where I'm just kind of sitting there and watching the game as opposed to playing it. So like even in that scene where she's kind of climbing out of the ship, there were certain times where it's just like I felt like I wanted to mash a button to like lift this body off of me or kick it off of me or whatever it is. And even like in certain combat situations too, where like there's that where one of the guys like tries to like subdue you in some way, and like I was like I wanted to smash a button to like just at least feel like I'm doing something with it. Whereas where the game just kind of took control again. So that was just my thought about that. But clearly might not be a favorable opinion for the rest of you guys. But
no, I hear you,
disagree
Chris.
with QuickTime.
I don't know. There's a lot of deliberate like slow walking just to do the exposition, which I get why it's there. And both of you guys talked about the walking simulator aspect of it, but like I want to run. I want to move faster, and like the fastest I can get is a brisk walk. Yeah. Like even when you're holding down the run button. And there's no map. That frustrates me too. I understand why you want to have a nice clean HUD and not have a map. Like I get that. Like in the I'm showing you a movie, kind of thing. I'm telling you a story. There's no place for a map, but that makes me end up walking in circles sometimes, and I get frustrated because I'm like, I just want to just get to the next thing, please. I've been walking already quite a bit. Like I'm ready for whatever the next puzzle or action sequence is. Just get me there.
I guess for them, it's about the journey, not the destination kind of thing. And
yeah, I'm a destination guy.
Yeah, I get that. I get it.
Tom, did you play past that first hour?
Nope. Okay. Spoiler.
No, well, that's fine because that dictates, I think that gives context to their decision. So I think I would be in your camp if that was all I'd played. So I grant that. I was just making sure I followed the logic because I got you.
Sure,
it makes sense.
1 hour, one decision.
That's I'm with you. No. I understand the premise. I just want to make sure I knew before I started questioning.
Picking it apart.
Yeah, exactly.
No worries.
Yeah. So I mean, that's all I got for my dislikes here. Anything else you guys want to bring up here on things that you didn't like?
That gets me through mine. I had to hit a little bit harder because you guys are so gushy on the other side. So.
Okay, Luke, anything else?
Balance.
No, there was not much I disliked. That was my only critique, and then switching to HDR bright did help a great deal.
Fair enough. So, all right. So our other thoughts here, I will just say this game is Xbox Play Anywhere xCloud compatible. So you can play it on mobile devices that have Xbox Game Pass, which is pretty cool. How Long to Beat says this game is about 6 hours to complete. So a nice short experience that you could finish over a weekend for sure.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what I got. Tom, what about you? What do you got with it?
So Luke touched on it a little bit. This game had considerably more resources than the original game. The team was about 5 times larger. So that's, kind of a big deal. And obviously they had quite a lot of time to work on it. And it shows for sure. Yeah. A trip to Iceland is what inspired using that as the location for the setting. And the voice actress also traveled there to kind of get an understanding of the climate and how harsh it was to inform her performance. She also studied martial arts and fencing to develop a unique style for her mocap work. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Very nice.
That's cool.
You got any tidbits there?
Yeah, so I think Melina Juergens did a great job with the mocap and the voice capture. She was not meant to be an actor. She was a stand-in when they first did the first game, and then she did such a good job that then it kind of took over. Heilung was the band that did a couple performances in honor of Hellblade, and they helped do some of the soundtrack work, which is just, it stands out and is exceptional. And Heilung, I think, is the woman's voice especially just is very piercing and wonderful, and I really, really like it. Thought the music was just exceptional. And then I guess the other tidbit I have is that they chose to make a decision in their combat differing from the first game, where you could fight multiple enemies, to now it's singular. Right. And I know that there is mixed reception there, but that singular combat where she's fighting only one person at a time, even though they play some trickery here and there, that combat is, and this is an overused term, visceral. Very heavy weighted. When she swings the sword, you hear her breath, you hear her struggle to lift it for another slash or for a deflection. The metal on bone, the metal on flesh, you hear those things. And I think they really did up the ante and make some creative decisions that really stood out. And Melina Juergens, I thought, if it was fencing that she used, that's impressive, because I saw just heavy weighted combat, and I thought she did an exceptional job.
Yeah, we didn't really touch on that, but yes, the voice acting. I mean, I think overall the motion capture and stuff like that just was done really well with the game. So for sure. But now, guys, we've got to decide, although we kind of already did in a way, are we keeping this game on our respective hard drives, or are we throwing it into the abyss of darkness that this game apparently starts with? So, Tom, I'll let you start that.
Okay. It should be pretty clear that I really enjoyed the presentation of this. It's beautiful. It sounds great. It's fun to play. But I feel like I'd really need to finish the first one before continuing this one. And I know Chris mentioned to me offline that that's not really necessary. But I just feel like that my personality, I'm not going to play the second game in a series without playing the first one. And unfortunately, I wasn't sold enough on this first hour to go back and play another game to play this game. So probably not for me.
Okay, fair enough. Luke, what about you?
Absolutely. And respectfully disagree. I really did enjoy this game a lot. To me, I thought there was just so much here that represents how far gaming has come along. And I don't mean that to sound hyperbolic. I don't mean that to sound like this is gaming Jesus or anything like that. Like, no, what I mean to say is that this showcases visual and audio design in a way that we haven't seen before. These are new benchmarks to look at it in visual and audio design. The gameplay was a creative choice, and I think that is open to critique a bit more. I don't know anybody that could look at the visuals or look at or listen to or examine the audio and critique it and be in their right mind saying that it's not an industry standard. The gameplay choices or the design decisions, that I think is more open to criticism and will be more preference based. I will say I don't think you do need the first game. I would disagree on that one as well. But I really stand hold to the idea that like this game's special and worth everyone's time. And I do hope people choose to go check it out because it was special to me and I really enjoyed it.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, and for me, I was just really intrigued with where Ninja Theory was taking Senua's story. And it's only 6 hours. It's like it's great. It gets you through this, like, just this emotional roller coaster that this woman is going through, and continue to go through, because now this is a second game. And it was really like going to a theater and really experiencing like a great like set pieces and experiences overall. So I think I'm keeping this. I'm going past that hour and doing that. So there's my thoughts there. But then those are our thoughts. Let us know what you think of this game. Follow us and say hello on Twitter or on Threads at TC1H1D. Shoot us an email at TC1H1D@outlook.com. Check out our next streams on Twitch at twitch.tv/1H1D. Or, we put these up on YouTube. So if you think Tom is completely wrong, he needs to play it, put it in the comment down below. We'll try to discuss with you there. 1H1D is part of the QTB network. And if you like gaming podcasts and all that crazy good stuff that QTB comes out with, check it all out at quitthebill.com/network. Now, Luke, again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Super happy we were able to get this done. Where can all the people find you?
If you search for Xbox Expansion Pass on any of your respective platforms, I think you'll find my content. I'm really proud of the review I did for Hellblade 2, and I would encourage people to go check out that one. It is spoiler free, though I didn't put it in the headline because that's kind of an annoying thing. I don't like when it says that, but it does not spoil the game for you. I think you would, those listening would find it helpful in making that decision about whether or not they should check it out. There's no footage past a certain point, which is also helpful there. So Xbox Expansion Pass, I'll be at the Xbox Showcase next week. I will be in the room for that. I'll be in the room for Summer Game Fest. I'm really looking forward to bringing coverage there. And it would just be really cool if people checked it out, because I know I enjoy seeing you in our Discord and in the chats. And so I hope more people choose to come hang out with us.
You guys have a weekly live show, which is great. The community over there is a good old time, and now you're adding is it like Tuesday nights or Wednesday nights where you're
right now? It's like a Tuesday afternoon at 1 hour where I just chat with people. It's really based on how my schedule works. But I wanted to talk to people because I used to do XEP one-on-one. It was just me. Mm-hmm. And then we brought Logan in, and it really helped the show come alive. Then we took the show live, and that helped another step. But I was missing kind of that solo moment where I just talked to the chat. And I had Khalif Adams on last week, which was a pleasure. I have a Web Dave coming up this coming week at the time of recording. Awesome. And so I'm experimenting with that Tuesday afternoon slot, what I want to do with it. It's just a way for me to connect with people that are enjoying it and would like that content, but it's not the pillar, I guess you would say, of XCP. That is our Saturday show. That is the interviews. Though the interviews slowed down in the lead up to the Xbox Showcase, and because everyone's like, well, we can't talk about it. And I'm like, fair. I had one of the biggest names ever cancel on me because they're showing their thing at Summer Game Fest. And I was like, well, that's a fair reason, but also like, what's Jeff Keighley got that I don't, And it's like, come on. Oh, millions of people watching? Fair. Okay, never mind. So, it was just one of those funny moments.
It is what it is. But I'm super awesome that you got to have the opportunity to chat with all those folks. And, I hope for more success for you guys. So
thanks, man.
So before we go, I guess we got to find out what we're playing next, don't we, Tom?
Yes, it is a critical part of the process.
Yes, here we go. We're going to hit that surprise button. And here we go. Oh, okay. I've been eyeing this for a little bit. The Bookwalker, Thief of Tales.
Woohoo!
I don't know what this is all about, but it looks funky. And we're going to find out that on our next episode. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in.
I need to write that in my handy dandy.
Little plug here.
The Bookwalker, Thief of what?
Thief of Tales.
Tales. Tales. Yes. Indeed. Yeah. Got that 1H1D book there.
Yeah. I mean, look, this guy's promoting our stuff better than we ever do. So here we go. But
thank you very much.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. But yes, and thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into this episode. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Thanks, everybody.